If I were to build a Formula One race car as a soloist, would I be an itinerant? Here I, Tanis Coralee of Seattle, provide my perspective on if I were to build a Formula One race car as a soloist, would I be an itinerant? So I'm filming this video Saturday, July 2025, after just kind of taken on as a project the release and going and seeing 2025 film F1 the movie. And so this is kind of it's something I've thought about before with my particular set of skills, both experimental, technical, or experimental / technical, and then abstract / theoretical, as well as I'm physically fit and have done field work in geology. So, and I have background in kind of materials science in the sense of like earth materials. My Bachelor of Science degree is in geology and geophysics with a minor in mathematics, and I spent over 4 years in a PhD program in geophysics, or in a graduate program, and I ended up quitting with no degree. And I have technical stuff before college and stuff. And so this is something that's like, I've thought about this before, back last decade, 2010s, but it's kind of resurfaced again. So it'll provide some clarity. Here, building includes designing and manufacturing each component as well as the final product. And for the building of the Formula One race car as a soloist. And an itinerant is a person who travels from place to place, itinerary dependent, an opposite of a homebody. So this is kind of building, I've done this, I've mentioned it in other videos, so I was like, I'll do kind of a standalone. So if I were to build a car for my Brad Pitt and a car, then a car for my Lewis Hamilton, the car would be the first I share. That car, the second car, would be the car I share the first time for the process of making the car, such as YouTube being the process. I pictured that. So I'm thinking through, so as a soloist, let's say I could do it, build one of those $350 million cars. Somehow there's a miracle budget, miracle soulmates of mine who want a car, right? And who have the skill set to be able to drive the car. So then let's say proceed. There's the first time through, so taking the person who doesn't necessarily have competition experience, but does have racing or like driving, I guess, experience. So / racing, but not competition. I mean, my Brad Pitt, and maybe start with him because the lack of competition experience means he might not be like have certain preferences for driving that have come from driving particular car brands. It allows me as the designer part of that to design a car without like having to subtract out or neutralize feedback that is like car brand specific. But that'd be good for then with my Lewis Hamilton, is if he does have preferences like that, then like kind of solidifying my own design style without overcorrecting for if there's something he didn't like driving for a particular brand, incorporating that into the designs. So the first time through, I might not like YouTube share the entire process publicly. Why? Because when I do stuff, and especially big projects and like physical projects, I can get confused, and I don't want to spread confusion. That's something I really don't want to spread in this world. Not that they couldn't document it or share it, just like for myself. First time through on things, and especially something like that, that's purely confusion and communication, trying to reduce. So if I go through once, then the first public time allows me to think through on the first time through / figure out what to not include as an attempt to reduce potential confusion areas. Like the emphasis is getting it done, kind of thing. Actually finishing it the first time through for me. And then also forging a car door with 2,000-year-old metalworking techniques may be more streamlined the second time around. So the first time around is figuring stuff out. The second time around might be more conducive, or after or whatever, to sharing in like hamster content, as his spirit, so to speak. So, and then I would save the tires for last so as to reduce rubber degradation. Okay, and then if I were living in Bracciano, this is the whole pursuing a PhD in physics in Italy thing with my Brad and my Lewis. Maybe they are even neighbors, so like if I'm living with them in Italy, is it something I could pursue as a pastime? So essentially I have like some time down and I go, here's some square footage of garage space. There's a pit of molten iron that you melted halfway last time. Are you gonna still work on the door? Okay, and then we could go and spectate at Autodromo Vallelunga Piero Taruffi in Campagnano di Roma, Italy, about a 20 to 30 minute drive from Bracciano. So there is a racing circuit, automobile racing circuit, about 20 to 30 minutes from Bracciano, which is where I've talked about living while pursuing a PhD in physics in Italy, through Sapienza, which is in Rome, which is about 45 minutes from Bracciano. So would I be an itinerant? So that's somebody who travels from place to place. And I'm going to say probably not, even if there's a lot of driving and travel. I am the opposite type of homebody. And so I think through a little bit and I was like, what does that mean? I was like, it means even when I travel, I like to return home. Could think of this as home is always my final destination. Whereas an itinerant is kind of like they go travel, but then they think about more travel where they're at, as opposed to like, I'm gonna go home and like sit down with my book on the Bessemer process and be like, iron working time, you know, like at home with my Brad and my Lewis, and they're like, we're not wearing any tops, honey. We're cute. We're cuter than the car you're building. So there we go. That's on if I were to build a Formula One race car as a soloist, would I be an itinerant?